Hello and welcome to the Coaching Crowd podcast with me, Jo Wheatley, and my friend and co-host Zoe Hawkins.
Hi, everybody. We're here with a very exciting podcast episode this week. And as you'll see from the title, we're giving you free access to an introduction to group and team coaching. This is the first module in our group and team coaching course, and we are making it available for all of you, which we are super excited about. And we're going to share with you our reasons why and what you can get from that, and some other things about group and team coaching that maybe you haven't thought of yet. So if you love a little freebie, and I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you do, then yeah, tune in today.
I love a freebie. I love a bargain. So I'm excited that we're able to share this with you as our listeners and with our clients and our communities. And really, it comes from a place of we really want there to be more coaches in the world. And that isn't limited to one-to-one coaching. Like the real problems in our world are at a systemic level. They're about the relationships that exist between groups or teams of people, and we can obviously extend that more widely. And so we've been thinking about how can we increase our impact with our program. The program is absolutely jam packed with coaching content, resources. And the feedback we've had from some people is like, it's too much. Like, there's so much of it, it's going to take me longer than I thought to go through. So if you feel passionate about and see the world through a systemic lens, and on some level you've always known you're going to train as a group or a team coach, like come and check out the introduction, give yourself the opportunity to start to further your development in this area, because one of the core pieces of content in the introduction is a competency framework that we have created for group and team coaches, because there isn't one that is out there or accessible. And so we want to be able to share this with you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really excited about it. We've not done free access to our programs before. And if nothing else, and you're curious, like you must know if you're a regular listener that we are a coaching training provider, and we provide obviously coaching training programs for beginners through to CPD programs for those who are already qualified. And we really pride ourselves on the quality of our programs. They are unique and different from other providers in the way that we have our learning portal and the wonderful resources that we provide. So if you're curious, like come and take a look inside and just, we want you to be able to invest your money with confidence whenever you buy anything. And particularly if that's with us and one of our courses, we want you to know that you are getting what you want and need in order to learn in the way that you need to learn. So we're excited to be able to show you behind the scenes of our programs.
So let's give them the URL, because our podcast is called The Coaching Crowd, which has got so much brand awareness. And our actual coaching training business is called In Good Company, not called The Coaching Crowd, because we didn't know then we were going to be creating this podcast. So you might not be as familiar with In Good Company, which is our coaching company. So let's give people the URL.
Yeah. So if you want to get access to that free course, you can head over to igcompany.co.uk/GTC now. So that's /GTC now. And that will take you to a page where you can enter in your email, and you'll get access to that course straight away. So go and do that. Not if you're driving, because that would be silly, but go and do that when you've finished listening. And why might you be interested in group and team coaching anyway? And the beautiful thing about this program is it's not just for coaches, because we recognize that all around the world, there are people in roles who are working with groups and teams. And this would include line managers, people in HR roles. Maybe you're somebody who is working in a freelance capacity with groups and teams in a consulting way. Or just somebody who's a volunteer, perhaps in your local community centre and working with groups and teams. And the thing with working in that space is it's complicated. It is really complicated, because on a one-to-one basis, you are able to nurture and grow a relationship. But when you're working in a one-to-many environment, there are so many different things that can come up. And we talk about some of this in this introduction module around what group and team coaching actually is. And I think it will help you to anchor yourself in what is the work that you're doing. Even in those roles as a line manager or as a volunteer, like anchoring yourself in the impact that you can have when you're working in this group and team space. Um, so, yeah, that would be one of the reasons to go and take a look at the free access program.
And let's not forget that this is two for the price of one, in the sense that you could attend a separate, a group coaching program, and you could then attend a separate team coaching program. But actually, this is a dual program. So if you're interested in moving from the one-to-one coaching that you're doing to the one-to-many coaching, that's why we created the two elements of this. And we know that some coaches are interested in coaching groups, where like, I don't want to coach teams, no, thank you. And other people are like, oh, I love teams. For me, everything happens through teams. Not so interested in groups where people don't have the same connection. We get that. There are some principles that are relevant across both. And in the program, we haven't diluted the program because we're covering both of these things. We do cover them both separately and also recognize the aspects that are relevant to both. So it's incredible to be able to learn about those as you go through one program.
Mm. And I think even the introductory module is going to help you to build your confidence, because I think one of the things that gets in the way for coaches or, line managers and leaders who are, thinking of doing more group work is it can feel scary. Like the more people you're in front of, or the more people you're there to support, it can feel there can be fear involved. And I sometimes fear comes from knowledge, right? Lack of knowledge, not knowing how to navigate certain situations. And I think the introduction module is really going to help you to anchor yourself in your confidence and in your capability. Even if it's just a starter, and opening your eyes like, oh, okay, like I can do this, I can be a group coach. I wasn't sure and I do feel afraid, but I can do it. Then, come and start the journey. Just take a first step, dip your toe in and find out like what's involved. What would it all be about? Because confidence is as important as capability in this space.
Yeah, and you might be have been considering group and team coaching because, or if we look at group coaching, because you might feel passionate about making coaching more accessible and been thinking about, recognizing that one-to-one coaching can feel out of reach for some people, and that may not align to your values on some level. So when we think about group coaching, often coaches will charge less for group coaching to an individual, with an individual, than they would if they were just coaching one person. And that's obviously because of the maths of it. If you're coaching six people in a space together, you're going to get six times the income or six times whatever you charge. So therefore you can lower the one-to-one rate. So there might be that values alignment piece for you that drives you to want to coach groups. It might be because actually you just want to increase your income as a coach. You may have exited your corporate role, you want to earn the same or more in your coaching career, and you're looking at your diary and thinking, well, I can only do a certain amount of coaching in any week. And I want to provide a high quality experience for people. So how can I do that with limited time, but around the passion for it? So this is a natural progression for coaches. Start out training as a one-to-one coach. The next natural step is to be able to develop your skills to be able to offer coaching at scale, basically.
Mm.
Having more of an impact, sharing more coaching resources and experiences with more people.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you say it's a natural next step, and it is, it's certainly the path that we took. But there's no rule book in coaching. You don't have to start with one to one.
Mm.
You might find that groups and teams is just where you thrive. That's where you find the joy and the fun and the inspiration in the work. Like, there's no rule that says you have to have a certain amount of coaching hours before you can launch a group coaching program. You might have done your initial coach training, feel that you'd like to work with groups and teams. You want to gain a bit more experience in the group and team space. This program is perfect for that, in being able to accelerate your journey to the work perhaps that you really want to do. So there's no set path, no set timing to step into this group and team space. And you may not be a coach yet, and you might be thinking, actually, I don't really enjoy the one-to-one stuff. I'd really like to do more with groups and teams, and I can see a route in my organization where I could run some, um, uh, you know, uh, oh, what's the word I'm trying to think of, Joe? Where you bring lots of basically people together. Maybe it's a leadership group or a women in leadership group or a minority group, and you want to do some coaching and mentoring, perhaps with young graduates. You can see loads of opportunities for bringing people together, and you don't necessarily have the time or maybe the inclination to go and fully train as a coach, but you would love to gain coaching skills to help you in that particular part of your role. Perfect. Start here. Get free access to the introduction module and just see what that stimulates in terms of your energy and enthusiasm for the work.
Oh gosh, when we were in our HR roles, like generic HR roles, like you're always required to run group experiences or to work with teams. Managers are asking you to help out with this, help out with that, and without any coaching training. So I think what excites us about this program in our like suite of offerings is that the barrier in terms of needing to train as a coach isn't there, because we recognize the value of the content to communities beyond the coaching community. So it's actually the only thing um, in our suite at the moment that offers that. And I love group coaching. I absolutely love group coaching. And so much so that I'm like, oh, do I love this more than one to one? And then I do one to ones. I'm like, oh, I really love the intimacy of the one to one. But what I love about the group coaching is seeing the relationships develop and seeing how people support each other. It's not all on you as the coach. Not that it is in one-to-one coaching either, but you see transformation on a different level, on a different scale, and it does require a high level of expertise to be able to do that well. And the experience on the program as a whole is that dual experience of you developing that there will be so many provocative questions that we pose in the training to you, that it is so enriching on a personal level for you. But obviously the introduction will give you an insight into how the course is structured. But community has never been more important. I think ever since COVID, people have really recognized more the importance of being in spaces with, I was going to say like-minded people, but it's not always like-minded people, but psychologically safe spaces, but where you can also grow as well and develop and thrive. So team coaching, I mean, that is that's
Do you know, I was just sat here thinking, Joe, it's really interesting you say, oh, you love like group coaching. Honestly, it used to terrify me, like group and team coaching. I did the work quite early on in my coaching career because I transitioned out of HR into, well, this business. It looked very different. Was it 15 years ago now? But I was thrown into like leadership development work, and I was working with teams and I was working with different groups of people. And the first thought before I got into my stride, and I always got into my stride really quickly and loved it, but the thought of doing the group and teamwork, I was always filled with nerves because I was just like, gosh, I don't know what dynamic there is amongst these people. And I sort of was so aware of the complexities and the different nested relationships and the role that I have to play in that. And how do I hold a group contract and call people out if they don't sort of adhere to it? It's just like I got lost in the I don't know how. And the truth is, of course, I knew how. And you can find your way in those situations, but you don't have to feel alone in finding your way in those situations. And I think that's what a program like this does, is just equips you, sometimes reminds you, like, I've got this, like I can do it. There'll be new stuff and there'll be familiar stuff, and there's oodles of like resources in the full program. But I think even just the introduction will help you again to settle into like, yeah, why am I putting this off? Like I can do this. So we're just really delighted to be able to give you that starter, that leg up, if you like, to be able to start thinking more seriously about your journey as a group and team coach as well as a one-to-one.
yeah. And of course, with group and team coaching, you can have the one-to-one element as part of the offer. And so you have that combination where you're able to do both. So where we've worked with teams, you and I have also tend to be have been larger teams. You and I then would one of us would be coaching half the team, one of us would be coaching the other half of the team in that one-to-one. And that's where you can do the deeper work. But you've had the benefit of being able to see that individual in an environment outside of your coaching relationship. So you get more of the view of them and their interactions and their behaviors in real life. And it's so valuable for the individual because they know that you've seen that too. And it just makes the experience and the potential for the development so much greater in that situation. So I love how it enables you to be able to do both things in a contract. And corporates, if you're working with teams, often there's higher rates, you're having more meetings with them, there's more work and prep that you need to put in to the foundations, really, or creating the foundations for a successful group or team coaching program.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll give you that link again because I know sometimes you get indulged in these podcasts. We've had people share with us that they take us on dog walks, they take us on the school run, they do their ironing, whatever you are doing whilst you're listening, remember this. So head over to igcompany.co.uk/GTC now, and you can pop in your email address and get instant access to the introduction to group and team coaching.